Ahoy there, me hearties! This be Captain Silverhook, and you're listening to the Two Old Pirates podcast. Set sail for an open sea of stories, tales, and some really crazy stuff. I expect you to like and subscribe, lest you be walking the plank.
Hello and welcome to podcast 76 of the Two Old Pirates. I come to you today making a podcast episode which I would hope to never make, and I'm making one now. One of my best friends, probably my best friend in my entire life, recently passed away. His name was Phong Nguyen. He actually was on an episode that we called The Three Old Pirates, where he co-hosted. Phong and I go back almost 40 years. And he was taken from us at a far too early age. A week ago tonight, I was in Pflugerville paying my respects to one of the nicest, most generous, funny, sarcastic, loving, caring individuals I've ever known. Phong was a good person to anyone and everyone he met. He had a childlike outlook on life. He was always thinking of the other person. He had dreams and aspirations of making people happy. I explained at the service that I had never heard Phong talk badly about anyone that I knew or that he knew, ever. Customers that came in at his brother's crawfish restaurant that might have maybe stiffed him, didn't leave a tip, never really complained. Never really complained. And if he did, it was for a nanosecond. He was the type of guy that everyone was proud to know. Severely loyal to his family. Loved his family. He was the fourth out of 5 children that came over after the Vietnam War. And for those of you that are too young to remember or to know, it was a weird time in America. The 1970s. Phong and his 3 brothers and his sister arrived with his mom and dad. They were lucky enough to get out of Vietnam. His dad served in the South Vietnamese military, and they made it all the way here, and they stopped at Evansville, Indiana, of all places. They finally made their way down here, and they settled in Rockport, and I got to know Phong in junior high a little, and then by our freshman year we became very good friends, and by our sophomore year we were best friends. So I want to go ahead and give you a little bit of a timeline, a little backstory, so that everybody knows a little bit about Phong. And I hope that by the time that this story's over, that maybe you'll see how precious life is and how we need to treat each other and how Phong would have treated each of us. So I'm going to do my best to honor my friend. Phong, I remember the first time that I went over to his house. He lived in apartments across the street from my old house. It was a poor neighborhood. And coming from Vietnam and not speaking much English, the family had to do with what they could do. And they lived in a small apartment, literally a stone's throw away from my house. And our freshman year in high school, we both went out for a sport called tennis. I did not know that this guy would become my tennis partner. Not only in tournaments in Toulouse Midway, Cal Allen, Gregory Portland, Port Lavaca, Aransas Pass, Sinton, you name it, Woodsboro, but that we would take our butts out to the park, out to the tennis courts in Rockport at the high school. Whether my dad had to drop us off when I was 15 or by the time I turned 16, we'd be out at those tennis courts. And we'd play hour after hour after hour after hour. And we grew as friends, and we got a hell of a lot better at tennis. And we just enjoyed the time. There was no really video games at that point. Nintendo hadn't even really came out. We had a car. We had a boom box. We listened to a lot of Genesis and Level 42. He was a good guy. Through high school, we played a lot of tennis. I'll give you a real quick story. The day that the space shuttle blew up, he was the one to let me know. I came down to the locker, and he came running down the hall and let me know, and we ran into the library, and people were crying, and we watched the remnants of the Space Shuttle Challenger fall towards Earth. I remember him always having the answers to algebra and biology tests from somebody that had taken it first or second period, and half the time forgetting him to give it to me. I remember so many things about Phong that made me laugh. He was very, very kind of secretive about certain things. He wasn't overly like laugh out loud type guy, but he had a very, very sarcastic sense of humor. And with me, I think sometimes he let his guard down and just was Phong, and he didn't worry about really anything. You have to understand, by the time we finished high school, he had left. And there was no cell phones or internet back then, so he just kind of disappeared. I knew the family moved somewhere, but I didn't even really know where. A couple years later, I get a phone call at my mom and dad's house, and it's Phong. And he's saying that he's in Austin, Texas, and he's working at an Asian restaurant. And, yeah, that he was dating an older woman. So it sounded very exciting being in a bigger city, and, you know, he's got a woman in his life and stuff. And then we just kind of lost track of each other again. I went on my way, he went on his way. No bad intentions, it's just life happened. And then Facebook came out and the internet came out, and we found each other again. And he had always invited me up to Austin, and by then I was married and had kids, and so went up a couple times and hung out. And then in 2002, out of nowhere, I'm going to show you in a second because I found some old video. He called up out of nowhere on a week before a weekend and said, "Hey, what are you doing this weekend? You want to come to Austin?" And I said, "Hey, I'm headed to Laredo. I'm going to drive 3 hours to Laredo. If anybody knows anything about me, I played street ball for 30 years all over the state of Texas. Any large city and small city that you can think of that there was a tournament, I brought my band of misfits known as the Rockport Celtics, and we played basketball everywhere, 3-on-3 street ball. Loved it." And on this occasion, Phong said, "Do you want me to come and watch you guys?" I'm like, all the way from frickin' Austin? You're going to come from Austin all the way to Laredo to watch us in the sun? And if anybody knows anything about Laredo in the summertime, it's freaking hot. What the hell? Let's do this. That man drove all the way in this really cool sports car. I forgot the name of it, but it was really, really cool. And he stayed with us that whole weekend. And you'll see some of the video in a second. And I said, "Hey, man, you can be our coach." And he's all, "Really?" And he wasn't like, "No, I'm just here and stuff." So he wanted to coach us. And I hope that you enjoy the edited video that I found of, besides us playing basketball, the time that Phong was there, and you can hear him talking, and you can see him a little bit talking to us on the court and stuff, and it's a really bittersweet video.
Step to the line. Step too far out. 20 seconds. A little bit too far out. You know, it's easier, closer. You stand like a feet and a half out. Hey, when the other team, pick them low. First on the court. Push them out. They're nothing. They're dominating you. Come on.
on earth. That's the stinkiest kid. Yeah.
It's a motley crew.
Still, when you're little, you don't care. Yeah.
Well, you could use like alcohol, like some type of alcohol.
Don't cut yourself.
No twos. Don't give me any twos. I'd rather have that fat guy do that.
I can't believe we get
Don't worry about the two that you missed. Don't worry about that one that you missed.
Oh, I didn't want to shoot that ball. Derek, you're calm, man. They can't argue.
Huh?
You're calm, man. He was out calling out. You know, he can't say anything.
What I said though is,
You don't want me.
what?
For your stomach.
My stomach?
Yeah.
Oh, baby.
Are you recording her?
I'm recording because I rewind it.
If the red light's on, it means we are the champions. Get the little space out. Okay.
Here, this will be a good picture.
That's for fun.
Did it say second place?
Yeah.
Hey, you want to know a joke? One fun love.
What?
Instead of one hung love. One fun love. Shut up.
You want to hear a funnier joke? Houston for two.
Cream of some young guy. All right.
Funyun. Oh, that was a good one. I like it.
Ready?
I'm looking away.
Funny one. Okay, Jay's ready?
Hey, open this up. Open this up. You. That's you.
Hey,
Here we go.
do me a favor, Fun. Come here. Fungus.
Bugs. I had to get on tape. Look at the Twin Towers. The Twin Towers right there. But nah, kind of straight up.
Okay, and then after all that, he had worked at Dell for years and years and years, Dell Computers. Then one of his brothers decided to go ahead and open up a crawfish restaurant, like crawdads, you know, crawfish. And Fung worked there for years and years and years. And every single time I'd sit there and say, come back to Rockport, man, let's hang out and stuff. He's like, I can't. I'm helping my brother. I'm working with my brother. He was so loyal to his family. He loved them so much that no matter what was going on, he always made sure that he was doing something to help them, whether working at the restaurant, later on, just delivering the crawfish. He'd drive all the way to Louisiana to a fresh crawfish thing, pick up crawfish to bring all the way back to certain restaurants. This guy was always going, but he was always working with the family. Very, very strong-willed, decent guy. His senior year in high school, Fung had never had a girlfriend, right? And he met a girl. And they were like head over heels. I mean, passionate love. They were like in love. Her name was Melissa. And as you can see by the picture here, at their prom, just look at those two. I mean, let me see. Can I go over here? All right, there. Take a look at those two. If that's not love, I don't know what is. But love can also be painful. And of course, that relationship didn't last like a lot of high school relationships don't last. But he was bitten really, really hard with the love bug with that one. Fung was a romantic and was ever chasing the ultimate dream of falling in love. And although he never had children, he always talked about his nieces and nephews with so much love and affection. And the way he treated my sons will always hold a special place in my heart. He always wanted the, you know, if I sat there and said, well, the boys, bring them. He loved hanging out with the boys. There's so many memories. And it's only been a week since the funeral, but it's like, it's not real. And I'm a private person. I know on here I tell all these different stories and stuff, but in all reality, I'm a pretty private person. And that's why when I heard that he had passed, I didn't go on Facebook or anything like that to be like, oh my gosh, poor me, my friend passed. because I was feeling bad enough as myself. I don't need sympathy from somebody else. And I'm not judging people that do things like that. I'm just trying to say, for the family's sake, I didn't want to go and spread things around. That's just the way I'm made. Once I saw that it was more on social media and that there was an actual funeral and it would be in the paper, I figured some people might figure something out, so that I'd wait and do my own time to do my own remembrance of Phong. You know, I said at his service, if the old saying is, if you can count on one hand the amount of true friends that you've had in one life when you die, true friends, you can die a happy man. I've had some good friends. I've had some really good friends. But out of those five that I could possibly have before I leave this earth, and I don't want to leave anytime soon, there's been one that has never judged or left or would not be there for me. There was only one that was always there for me, would never leave, was always positive, and had my back, always. And that was Phong Nguyen, my friend. During my divorce, since he had gone through 2 divorces, so he knew pain, he was there for me. He would text me all the time to come up to Austin and just hang out. Or he'd just call to check on me. And not a whole lot of people did that. And it's not that I wanted them to, but I didn't ask him to. He just knew that his friend was hurting. His buddy of all those years was hurting. We never went out and played tennis again. We'd catch a movie. We might go to a concert. We went to go see, there's 7 bands from the 80s, and we got to watch that together. Phong loved Asian food, and he would always try to get me to try a new different type of Vietnamese cuisine, but you know me and pho. I love pho. So every single time we'd go somewhere, he'd order something different, and I'd order my bowl of pho, and he would probably look at me like, Eric, you got to change it up. But I was happy with pho. Phong also had a huge amount of collectibles. And his ultimate dream was to start a museum that would be free for children to come in and see Legos and Batman toys and Star Wars toys. You name it, Superman, you name anything you can imagine. This guy had 15 rooms full, floor to ceiling, of collectibles, sports cards, sports jerseys, Marvel Universe, DC Universe, everything. I thought I had stuff. My ex-wife would tell me, you got to get some of this stuff out of the garage. You have too much stuff. And then I saw Phong's stuff. And I was all, woman, you have no freaking idea what stuff means. And he had a dream. And I remember asking him the first time about this museum. I said, how much are you going to charge people? And he looked stunned. He was like, nothing. It's for free. And I said, well, you got to run the place. You got to have electric on. You got to... Now, I was trying to think business-wise, being an economics teacher. And Phong was thinking, no, I just want to go ahead and have this for people to come and enjoy themselves. Why would I charge them anything? That shows you who Phong was. I hope his spirit continues on in me and my boys to be less judgmental, to be more caring, open-hearted, because no matter how hard I've tried in this life to be a good person, in my eyes, I'm not even near the realm of how Phong was. And just by you guys listening to this, understand how easily you could be nice to others and not judgmental, and just be a decent human being. I'm not saying you're not, but we all fall short at times, and I'm sure Phong did. I'm just trying to say, in 40 years, I never really saw it. He wasn't a saint. He wasn't perfect. But damn, I never heard him talk smack about people like, this person sucks, or man. He talked about LeBron James. He didn't like him. He was a huge Lakers fan. I'm a huge Celtics fan. You know? and he'd talk crap about LeBron James or the Dallas Cowboys or something like that, but persons that we knew, I might sit there and say, man, I never liked that guy in high school. I never liked that guy and stuff. Phong would just, yeah, he would never say anything. Maybe he had those feelings. Maybe he harbored those feelings, but he didn't feel right saying it in public or to even to a friend of 40 years. So, I want you guys to think about Phong. And understand that this is my friend. This is my buddy. And he was always there for me. And he was a great human being. And in my mind, I'm going to think he's off on vacation somewhere. Yeah. He's off on vacation somewhere, and we're going to see each other again. It just might not be for a little while. But Phong will always be part of my life. He'll always be part of my son's lives. I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, but of all the guys I've been friends with in my life, my boys, if they ever asked who was on the phone, they never really said hi to them or anything in the background. They'd just be like, who are you talking to, Dad? And I'd say it, and they'd be like, oh, okay, cool. When I was on the phone with Phong, they would yell, hi, Phong. What's up, Phong? Because they knew how he treated them when he was around. He was always joking with them and trying to be nice to them. And not that my other friends weren't like that, but they genuinely knew Phong was trying to be appreciative and respectful and nice to them as my sons. So he cared about them. Every time that I eat pho, I'll think about Phong. Every time I want to be a better person, I'll think about Phong. Every time I go out and coach tennis, I wish I could hit one last time with Phong. But it is what it is, and he's on vacation right now. And I hope that he's totally madly fallen in love with a woman in heaven, and he's happy. So to all of you, two old Pirates fans, this is a see ya later to one of my favorite Pirates of all time, Phong Nguyen, my best friend. Peace and love, and I'll see you on the next episode.